The Tucson Metro Chamber has been outspoken in how the creation of jobs and a greater focus on economic and workforce development are key strategies to reducing the symptoms of poverty. We must have a pro-business environment and incentives to recruit companies to invest in Tucson and to support companies expanding in Tucson. Jobs are the number one way to fight the war on poverty. So let's bring in the jobs and support building public policy environment and the skill set those jobs will require by partnering with our major workforce development partners like the University of Arizona and Pima Community College.
How can we address poverty? That again, not a yes or no question. Let me talk about poverty from the standpoint. First of all, I mentioned all the economic success that we've had, and I listed off Hexagon and Caterpillar and all those. But the reality is that we're not going to, quote, cure poverty. The $15 wage is not going to cure poverty. Our goal is to keep people in homes. Our goal is to make sure that we have a housing and community development department that is touching people where their needs are and not simply putting Band-Aids on. The reality check is that we're not going to cure homelessness, but we are doing a significant amount. We fund crisis mobile teams. Our TPD deflection unit gets people services they need. We work with Emerge domestic violence center all the time. Our goal is to get people appropriate services that they need. Tucson and Pima County, the region, though, it incorporates the reservations. It incorporates a lot of rural areas. So the data that you're citing is not necessarily reflective of the core city core, but the attracting the businesses that I mentioned, continuing to work with Visit Tucson. I would also say that we have one of the top drawer people in terms of economic initiatives in Barbara Coffee, working with the city right now. That was not true 12 years ago when I started doing this. And I'll throw the county in too. They've got a strong economic initiatives group that's working successfully right now region-wide. So we're not going to do it alone, but the region working together is the answer.
So you guys are going to keep hearing me say it. Public health. I feel like public health is how we start to address some of these symptoms. And that's the O in my platform. That's housing, opportunity, mobility justice, and environmental justice. And you're going to think about home. Don't think about Diana Ross. Think about me. Opportunity really is one of those things where a few years ago, under the purview of Jay Young, I had the experience of working on opportunity indexes. And that basically talks about our food deserts. That talks about our real estate driven economy. That talks about our low employment to population ratio. That talks about retaining our young talent. It talks about our poverty rate, but it also talks about our built system and our planning processes. And so for me, addressing poverty within the city of Tucson is really going to rely on public health and all of those things that I just mentioned about the opportunity indexes. It's a yes, and yes, we focus on those. And we do that workforce development, but we also work on our innovation and technology with business development with the University of Arizona. We partner with Pima College to start to create workforce development. We continue our revitalization of downtown, and we do all of these things in tandem, but really we're focusing on reducing the number of poverty from 24%, which I think it's between 22 and 24, if I'm correct.
Such a big question. It'd be cool if I could answer it in 5 minutes. The Poverty and Urban Stress Report, like the 2020 update, is really interesting. You can look around on the maps and sort of see like where the greatest concentrations of poverty are. And this certainly is a big problem in Ward 6. We have poverty levels that have risen, sort of pretty steadily. And I think there are a lot of causes of that. I think the aforementioned needing to reinvest in community supports is a big part of this. From my time advising, especially advising at Pima Community College at the downtown campus, where a lot of non-traditional students would come in, especially following the 2008, recession. It's like a lot of people were looking for better opportunities, and part of that is education. And what I would notice with individuals in poverty is that it was like a series of cascading events or like a clump of events that happened that just took them down and made them unable to go to school, pay the bills, get a job or hold a job down. And so, just access to like healthcare, mental and behavioral health is a huge bolster to allowing somebody to do what they want to do and pursue their goals. Funding education, funding workforce development programs, and doing those pipeline programs where you have a training provider partnering with a local employer. I think stuff like that is great, and we could be doing more of that. It also starts even earlier than that, with grade school, middle school, and high school, getting more trades awareness there and presenting a broader array of options to our local youth about what they can do. I think housing affordability has to be in there too. So increasing the amount of diverse housing options that we have available to meet different needs. So housing, transportation, certainly. So again, moving away from that auto-centric model of transportation planning and investing more meaningfully in public transportation, making things actually bikeable and walkable. That keeps more money in people's wallets, and it makes it easier to weather hardship. I made the decision in my early adulthood to not have a car. And it was a combination of reasons, but partly because I had no money. And it felt really empowering to know that I could just get where I needed to go, even if I was broke. And I think that if we just make it easier for folks to get by, that's the way forward.
There's always talk about affordable housing. And I know in some of the current situations where you find this affordable housing, how is this gonna happen? How do you fix this poverty line? Again, I'm not sure what the city can do other than incentivize private people to take areas that are not doing well and maybe create more of an affordable housing in those certain areas. I know here with the building up of the downtown area, the central business district, is kind of pushed, some nicer homes and businesses in this area and kind of pushing out some of the people that were, living in what they would call maybe their affordable areas, kind of out to their outskirts as far as that goes. But I don't know that there's a city answer other than figure out a way to incentivize private sector to build areas for affordable housing. I know that's a tricky road because I don't want affordable housing in my neighborhood, but we need to work with different neighborhoods. One of the nice things about the city of Tucson is the culture, the charm, especially with a lot of our historic neighborhoods within the city of Tucson. And I think those need to be, maintained to a certain extent also. I know I kind of danced around the affordable housing. I don't have a silver bullet for that answer.